I'd now like to invite Jim Spiers from Tri-State to present his case and his thoughts. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Butter, and thank you all for the opportunity to join you this afternoon. I'm not going to bore you with some PowerPoint slides, not that my colleagues have PowerPoint. I'm just going to wait a little bit. Let me tell you just a little bit about Tri-State. We're a generation and transmission wholesale provider to 44 distribution cooperatives around the Rocky Mountain West, Nebraska, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico. Those distribution members serve about 1.6 million customers across 200,000 square miles. It's 200,000 square miles. We extend from Montana on the north to Mexico on the south. So a pretty big footprint, not a lot of density. If you think about it, the Tri-State and the cooperative system has a lot of similarities to the Indian energy industry. We have a number in India, a number of distribution entities, and then the generation and transmission providers. I had the great fortune before I joined Tri-State through one of my clients to actually work with the Ministry of Power. We provided an information technology and energy technology advisory service to utilities worldwide, and the Ministry of Power was one of our clients. We had a great opportunity to learn a lot about the Indian energy system through that. And so I think the parallels, I'm going to come back to a couple of things where I think those parallels really are on point when it comes to elements of the smarter grid, when it comes to elements about how we deploy technology. But through our member systems, we also have a trade association, National Rural Electric Cooperative Association, NRECA, and you may have heard about them earlier today, I'm not sure, when the USAID and the USDA delegates talked. Through NRECA, we have an international program, and we actually have a number of our managers who deploy to India and work very directly with the distribution utilities in India. So we've got a great relationship, and we want to continue to build that. From my earlier life, I had the great fortune of working with Tata Power, Tata Consulting Services, TCS, in addition to the work we did with the ministry. So we do find a lot of commonality. A couple of other things about us. As a distribution, as a cooperative enterprise, as both Matt and Matt discussed, we're regulated by our boards of directors. We're not rate regulated by the state of Colorado. So it puts us in a little bit different position, but it's also important to note, unlike Excel, who operates in operating districts and operating divisions, say for Colorado, through Public Service Company of Colorado, that has its loads and resources basically allocated to Colorado, we don't allocate by state. We operate this enterprise across the 4 states, actually across 7 states when you think about where the footprint extends to. We have 7 coal power plants, we have 7 natural gas power plants. We had the largest 30 megawatt photovoltaic solar array, largest of its kind when it was announced. It's now energized and providing power to the grid in northeast New Mexico, the Cimarron project on Ted Turner's land. So Ted Turner Renewables and Southern Company actually bought it out from First Solar. And we also have wind in eastern Colorado. Certainly don't have the percentages that our friends at Excel do. I'm going to certainly hat off to them as world-class leaders in this. So we're all learning from some of their great opportunities and some of their great challenges, shall we say. But also across our footprint, we do a lot with our distribution cooperatives to do local renewable projects. We have 18 different local renewable projects that run from 25 kW up to 4 megawatts. And these are actually under control on the system of our distribution entities. So when you think about smarter grid and the potential for deploying distributed generation resources, we're actually doing that. The first and only program of its kind in the country. So there may be some parallels that we could share with our friends from the energy industry in India. Our members are covered by a renewable portfolio standard in New Mexico and Colorado. It is the distribution cooperative's obligation, but we'll fulfill that on their behalf unless they're involved with these local renewable projects. So again, that's what was the primary impetus for us to go out and acquire the solar and wind resources that are, again, now both energized. One thing we run into as a dilemma as a cooperative, we don't have enough tax appetite to monetize the tax benefits of the renewable projects. So we'll look for partners to monetize those tax benefits. Over time, however, our next tranche of renewables, we very possibly will take an ownership and operation interest in those. A couple of things about transmission and the so-called smarter grid. Every time somebody says the smart grid, I kind of recoil. We've got a very, very intelligent grid. It was built to do certain things. It does those exceedingly well. Now, does that mean that we can't ask it to do more? We can't put new expectations on it? Certainly we can ask it to do more. And so when we think about it, we really focus on the smarter grid. And if you think about our bifurcated business structure with us at bulk wholesale and our members at distribution, again, very much like the energy industry in India, our distribution systems have that substation down to the meter and to the end-use consumer. We're basically above the substation. We've got about 5,200 miles of high-voltage transmission that we operate across this 200,000 square miles. And we've done some fairly advanced investment in automation, SCADA, and energy management systems across that. We provide a real-time load signal to our 44 members, and then we're investing heavily in very sophisticated metering down to our delivery points with our members. But then you have the handoff from us to that member system, to that distribution cooperative. Distribution cooperatives inside of our service territory, our members, about half of them are deploying pretty robust advanced meter infrastructures. And you might say, well, that sounds like a lot. It actually is, but if you go back in history, the cooperatives actually moved far faster on so-called demand response, load management, and smart grid, or the advanced market or advanced meter infrastructure than the investor-owned utilities did. Now, that's not a criticism of the investor-owned utilities, that's just a practical reality that the cooperatives faced. Think about the cooperatives. Most of them were in the market for up to half of their power, so they had to protect themselves from market potential abuse. How'd they do that? Load management. So they got way ahead of the curve on load management, or what we're now calling demand response.